Welcome to the Leadership Question of the Day podcast. I'm your host, Jono White. I'm the founder and principal consultant of Clarity. We are an Australian consultancy that works with leaders around the world, and our passion is to invest in people to become everything they're meant to be in order to fill the world with healthy organizations that people love to work for and customers line up to buy from. Let's jump straight into today's leadership question. What could you do to grow in expertise in your role? This question today is about expertise, but it might be a bit different than what you expect. I remember for me when I stepped into a leadership role, and I'm a very deep thinker, high level thinker. I love to take time. I love to really think things through. I'm quite indecisive. And I remember someone saying to me early on when I was a leader, Jono, what's the vision for what we're doing? And I said, you know what, I don't really know. And I was being honest, and I was trying to be vulnerable and say, I'm trying to work this out because I'm a new leader in this space. But it really didn't go down well. And I think in hindsight, the reason is that as a leader, what people want from us is expertise in our role. See, a lot of us don't actually need to be experts in the things that our team members, there are people in our team who will be experts in different areas, and it's our job to support them and to serve them. But what people do want to see is expertise in your role. What are you meant to be doing in your role? And I remember this idea for me really once again came from a recent podcast I did. You can check it out on Leadership Conversations, where I talked to Joe Folkman. And Joe talked about the three, sort of the trifecta of trust. And two of them are relationships and consistency. And then there's this one, expertise. But it's about expertise in your role and really being an expert in your role. And so I just want to give you three very quick tips about being a leader and having expertise in your role. The first thing is every leader needs to realize that they are a people leader. Okay, if you're a leader, if you're having influence, if you're in a role where there are people around you, whether they're on your team or with your colleagues, or particularly those who are leading in a role where you have people reporting to you, okay, you are now a people manager. And if your expertise, let's use schools as an example, if your expertise has previously been in curriculum, then that's only going to earn you so much credibility now with your team, because there's a really good chance that curriculum is going to reach a very low ceiling in terms of what people are looking for, and what they're actually looking for is expertise in your role. And your role has changed. If you're leading people now, then it's going actually less about curriculum and more about those people. And what they want to see is expertise with how you manage them. And so I think the first thing I'd encourage you to do is to shift. Have a look, take a step back now in your mind and look at your role and think to yourself, particularly those who've been fantastic individual contributors before you've taken this role, am I a people leader? Am I a people manager? And most of you are going to go, yeah, some of you might say, actually, no, I'm still really an individual contributor in the role I'm in. But if you're a people leader, then I want you to shift, and you need to make this shift and realize what people are looking for now is credibility in the way I lead people, not credibility in my skill set that got me here. That's the first thing. The second thing is really a segue from there, and it's to say, become an expert in one-on-ones and in team meetings. There's lots of things you can do in these spaces. And if you can grow as a facilitator, there's some really simple things, okay? Grow in how you listen, grow in how you ask questions. Read Patrick Lencioni's The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Read Patrick Lencioni's book, Death by Meeting. And learn how to structure a meeting and facilitate a conversation. Learn how to do a great one-on-one where you're really investing in people, you're asking them questions, and you're growing as a leader. You're not talking all the time, you're not talking over people, but you're listening. And if you can just do that, boy, that's going to increase your expertise. And then I want to give you one more tip around this area of expertise in your role. And I think a lot of leaders don't realize the power of bringing clarity to their team. I want you to be an advocate for getting clear. I want you to consider yourself a representative and an advocate for clarity with the people you're leading. What can you do tomorrow to help clarify? What can you do tomorrow to help clarify? To clarify expectations for each of the people in your team, to clarify a goal, Have you made it very clear where your team's going? Maybe you're part of an organization that's not very clear. Maybe you have a strategic plan as a larger organization that's very confusing. Well, for you and your team, what people are looking for from you is clarity. They're wanting a clear sense of direction. So how can you give them that? If you can realize that you're a people leader, if you can grow in how you do one-on-ones and team meetings and facilitating that space, once again, remembering that your main skill set now is no longer the thing that brought you here. It's now your ability to lead people. Okay, that's changed. And the third thing is this idea of clarifying. What can you clarify? And maybe the place to start is a step back from that. Actually go to your team or in your one-on-ones and say, what's confusing in our team? What's confusing in your role? Is there anything that's not clear? Because great leaders, one of the things they do in their role is they really clarify things and they have people's back. And one of the things that's going to set you up to not be able to have your people's back is if you don't create clarity, because they're going to turn to you and say, isn't that right? And you're going to shrug and go, well, maybe. And what you need to be able to do is say, we need to be crystal clear. There's some thoughts. When it comes to expertise in your role, think about how you can be more of an expert people leader rather than the skill set that got you to where you are today. Well, I hope today's leadership question has helped you in your leadership and put a stone in your shoe. That's what I love to say, is that my role, I believe, working with leaders is about putting a stone in your shoe. So something you were really comfortable with, now you're walking a little bit uncomfortably, going, is there a better way to do this? How do I handle this? And that's because no growth is comfortable. So I hope that's okay. I appreciate you taking the time. I don't take it lightly. And if you are just joining us, then make sure you check out our website, consultclarity.org, consultclarity.org. We have so much free content on there for you, including the 7 Questions on Leadership series. So more than 1,500 leaders around the world, different roles, different sectors, have filled out the 7 questions on leadership. In-depth answers on how they lead, what they've found most challenging, how they structure their time, what book or books have been most significant for them. There is so much gold on there. You could go and basically live in that part of our website for a few weeks, I think. So make sure you go and check that out. It's free. And hey, we would love to interview you for our 7 Questions on Leadership series. Your leadership, based on your context, your life, and your experience, I believe that you can bring something that other leaders can learn from. I truly do. And so it's completely free to get involved. It's a great way to give back if you're loving this content. And you can do that by going to consultclarity.org/7-questions-interest, or just Google consultclarity.org 7 questions interest, and then click on the page, fill out the form to express your interest, and we can get you going to fill out the 7 questions on leadership. We also have a free resource on our website. It's right at the top, consultclarity.org on our homepage, and it's called the Leadership Survival Guide. It's a 57-page ebook with interviews from 10 world-class leaders, and it's right there for you to download. It's completely free, and awesome resource. It's very popular, so check that out. We also have a daily email, and I know that our more than 15,000 leaders who subscribe get a lot of value from that. We highlight the best content from our blogs, from our podcasts, from our books and books we're reading. It also gives you exclusive and limited access and early access to our masterclasses and workshops. So I really try to make it something as helpful and as valuable as possible. That's my commitment. And so go to consultclarity.org/subscribe if you're interested in all things leadership, and you can become part of that community. Now, my gift to you with everything we're doing, particularly with this podcast, the Leadership Question of the Day, is to work really hard to provide the best leadership content to invest in you and your leadership. Your gift to me would be this. If you're finding this helpful, if this helps you in your leadership, then there is something you can do that makes a massive difference, and that is to write a review or rate our content. Wherever you're listening or watching, rate our content, write a review, make sure you subscribe or follow. It might seem small to you to do that, but it adds up and it helps us to help more leaders become the best they can be. It also means a lot to me personally whenever I see you sharing our content, so thank you so much for that. If you do share it on social media, then look for me Jono White, and try to tag me and look for clarity and tag us. And I promise we are always looking for content shared by our community. When people share our content, we're looking to engage with you. And there's also a chance that we may actually share what you write as a post with our followers. So if you do that, there's a chance you'll be shared as well. Last of all, you can check out my book called Step Up or Step Out: How to Deal with Difficult People Even If You Hate Conflict. I wrote this book because more than 50% of the leaders I coach, 50% of the sessions, where I coach leaders, this comes up again and again and again. And it's leaders saying, Jono, how do I deal with this difficult person? Or how do I deal with this person and I'm finding it so difficult, we're just on a different wavelength. And that's because difficult conversations are difficult. And I find this is one of the biggest challenges for leaders in the world today. And that's where Step Up or Step Out is a 3-step process to help you deal well with difficult people. I really believe it's a book that can help you in your leadership. So go and check that out. It's on Amazon, Step Up or Step Out, Jono White, if you just look that up. Or go to store.consultclarity.org/book and you can get it there. Well, thank you so much for listening. We're going to be back with a new episode of the Leadership Question of the Day next time. I hope today has helped you take another step towards becoming everything you're meant to be. We'll see you next time.